Hey everybody, just want to welcome you. I've got my good friend Andrew Randazzo here. He is the founder of Prime Medical. He's the executive director, and they are headquartered here in Knoxville. And currently, he's in New York, as many of you guys have known. So tell us a little bit, Andrew. First of all, welcome to
Thank you.
little Zoom call.
Thank you.
And,
Good to be here.
well, listen, man, I appreciate you helping people and flying out there to New York. Tell us a little bit, just as we get going, what is the state of the hospital, and tell us a little bit about the state of like logistics, even for you coming from Knoxville. How quick did that happen? And once you got on the ground, what's the logistics look like as far as the hospitals in general?
Well, I mean, so for me, it was, I got a call and then they asked me to be up in New York within about 12 hours. So booking my flight and getting on it, it's hard. It's difficult to get people up here because there's not many flights going into LaGuardia. So when I got to the airport, my flight was canceled, and then I just had to rebook. And it either takes, like when I came off of my deployment from San Diego a few weeks ago, it took me 12 hours to get from San Diego back to Knoxville because of all the rerouting. So it's hard to fly. But I was able to get into Newark and then just drive in from there. So that wasn't too bad. But then, it's just deployments are always hectic in the beginning because you're throwing thousands of people into a scenario that they haven't necessarily dealt with before, or there's always, nuances to every crisis. And so you're kind of establishing a command and people are settling into their roles. And that usually takes a good week or so before things settle down and calm down. So when I walked in, it was mass chaos. So I got up at like 4 in the morning, got on my flight, flew up here. I didn't go to bed. I think it was like up for 39 hours straight. So you hit the ground running and you were like, it was pretty crazy stuff. So, and then eating was pretty scarce the first few days. That's how it starts out. And now it's kind of settled down. Things are a lot better.
That's amazing. And you're working with complete strangers, right? I mean, how many are from Knoxville that you know? I mean, probably.
I hired on 3 other people from Knoxville that I knew. So when I got here, assessed what was going on. We had some needs, so we brought 3 of my friends on, but everybody else is or are strangers.
Wow. It's got to be odd, one, facing something you've never faced before.
Yep.
With people you may have never met before. I mean, just speaks to the talent and the character of people who are just in your line of work and just coming together and working for a common cause. I mean, it's just incredible.
Totally. So, yeah. It's pretty amazing to see how everyone pulls together, and there's just a ton of camaraderie. You kind of understand, like for me as a civilian, never being in the military, you start to kind of feel and understand why there's such camaraderie amongst military members, because you're just thrown into some really dire things and it really glues you together and makes you a lot stronger. And yeah, as a team.
That's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, I can't believe the amount of stuff that probably is going on in just the hospital that you're working in.
I actually don't personally work in the hospital. I was brought on and I work on the clinical leadership team and over operations. So we work in about 17 different hospitals. We have 4,500 people on staff. And so we staff these hospitals. Some of the hospitals have 0 employees. We 100% staff them, either because like half the employees got COVID and died, or the other half are too scared to come to work. So we fully support these hospitals, and my job is primarily to work on operational efficiency and culture and things of that nature. So I help with overseeing the 4,500 that are here.
What do we not know is going on that I think would give us a better appreciation, even at a deeper level, of what's going on there on the scene?
Yeah. Well, so, transportation was one thing that I mentioned that's you don't think about. It's really difficult to get transportation. And then other things too, just within, I can't speak for how all the New Yorkers are living, but I can say that for our group, you're really limited on supplies because there's a huge supply demand issue. So if you try to go to get food at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or wherever, the lines are super long. I mean, they're wrapped around for blocks and blocks, people waiting to get into these stores. And then you get in and the shelves are completely empty. And so you're really limited on your food options there. So those are some, like, I can only imagine what the people of New York are going through, because we're going through some of that as well. And they probably have other daily needs and issues.
What goes on every day? I mean, what are some of the things you're facing just throughout your day?
So we're having security issues with them coming and harassing people on the streets, and there's just it's like the Wild West. There's no law enforcement really at all, and you can do whatever you want. I got people driving 80 miles an hour through Times Square, and there's police on all the corners, and they don't do anything because they don't want to interact with people. So you literally can get away with close to about anything around here. So that's another logistic too. So people are breaking into stores and plundering and all this. So that's happening. So wow. Those are some of the interesting logistics that you don't hear about on the news. You only hear about COVID cases, but the implications of that are really interesting.
Gosh, I can't imagine watching somebody going 80.
Dude.
Talk to me a little bit about your family, man. You've got kids and a wife back home here in Knoxville. How's that been for you on a personal level? I'm sure many of the people you work alongside have family as well. I mean, you're working long hours. I think you were saying 12 hours. How many hours?
Yeah, anywhere between 16 to 20, no less than that.
Wow. So that's got to be incredible. I mean, your wife with the kids, obviously she's a champion. I mean, to be at home with the kids. What about, say, you? I mean, no sleep, trying to stay present with your kids and your family, and stay present with what you're doing. How's that been difficult? How are everybody handling that?
There are more challenging days than others for me. But you start kind of learning how to cope with the sleep deprivation and the stress and things like that. I don't get to interact with my family a ton. Just because of our schedules, like with her with the kids and then me at work. But we usually
on a Zoom call.
Yeah, doing a Zoom call, things like that. So I got to now pay back my wife for the time that I'm spending here with you. But it's working out. I was on my last appointment in San Diego, came home for about 4 days, and we were really able to kind of reevaluate the situation that we were in, and just recognizing that this is a great opportunity, because there's a lot of people that aren't making money, and this is going to go on for a very long time. So we were kind of able to reset the expectations and moving forward when I came to New York, and it's been good. I mean, we were just because of that conversation and being able to re-gauge, we're handling it.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
She's a great woman, and we're fortunate to know her ourselves, my wife and I. So appreciate y'all's friendship. And so one of the things, I guess, as we kind of come to close, tell us a little bit about maybe some things we're not hearing on the news that would be educational for us.
Yeah. So it's pretty dire here. When they say that it's bad and people are dying, it's just because of the sheer numbers of people, and they can't get the appropriate care that they need. It's like a mass casualty incident. So yeah, there's the virus and they're dying because of the virus, but they're also dying because there's not enough people to take care of them. And so, there's some hospitals where it's one person with 17 patients in an ER. And so they're all critical people. And so we're just basically having to do triage and figure out where they're at. That's difficult. And then also the nature of being in this big city. People look at Knoxville and they say, well, it's not that bad here. And it's not, but that's also because Knoxville doesn't have the same infrastructure that New York does. With New York, you've got all these ethnicities and other people that are predisposed, the public transit. I mean, there's so many other things. And so when the nation's criticizing and saying that it's, not as bad as the news is making it out to be, that's just because most places aren't like New York and don't have that kind of infrastructure. And the infrastructure is what lends itself to to this. And, the high rises, people are jam packed into small spaces. You don't have big yards where you're naturally distanced from your neighbors. I mean, so all these things are what contribute to the spread of a virus much faster than what we would see in general cities, mid-sized cities.
What is a good way for people watching that they could reach out to you? And again, I mentioned early on, you are the founder of Prime Medical. Anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, so Prime Medical, just for those that don't know, we're a company that sells AED defibrillators, and we sell and we train people in CPR and first aid. That's what I do in my daily routine. Obviously, this is kind of a different skill set that I'm putting to use right now. But if people want to reach out, they can. It's primemedicaltraining.com is the best resource. We have a contact page, and they can reach out to us that way. If people are interested in also just reaching out and being involved with what's happening up here on the front lines, there's plenty of needs. I would say though that the best thing to do is reach out and ask what those needs are before just sending stuff, because people are being really helpful in sending things, but then there becomes a point where we're really just being bad stewards of resources, and we're sending an abundance of one thing when there's really a need over here, and people aren't communicating first before sending stuff. So if you want to help, there are definitely needs, but reach out, and I'd be glad to share what those needs specifically are at the current time.
That's awesome. And listen, I appreciate your time. And many don't know your wife had a birthday while you've been gone as well.
Right.
So you talked about another champion. I mean, you guys, it's incredible. So, man, I appreciate your just willingness to step in and serve. I mean, I've known you for a few years now, and